the interesting thing, I suppose, that I can share with you, ladies and gentlemen, is because, I suppose, because of my so troubled, thank you, because of my troubled background, or troubles in my background, it has made me the person I am today. And I was mentioning to Paula that there is nothing that I would change. I was born in Palestine, which is in the Middle East. I was born in 1944. I am a Taurus, which means we are still in Aries at the moment, but on the 23rd I'm a double Taurus, I'm told, so I'm very stubborn. And in 1948, at the creation of Israel, we had to leave. My father is Irish, from the northern part of Ireland, being a Protestant, was sent by the British Army to work in Palestine. And there he met my mother, they got married, and of course things happened, I was born. I have a sister, 1.5 years younger than me, that she was born there as well. But we had to leave our home behind. And so we didn't know what to do. We thought maybe the troubles would die down. So we went to Cyprus and lived in Limassol for 3 months. I'm told I learned to speak Greek quite well then, playing with the kids. But the problem is, my father being Protestant, coming from a family of very religious Protestant ministers, my mother being Catholic. We had just left Israel and Arab lands, so we had the Arabs and the Jews, the Protestants and the Catholics, all mixed in together. And apparently I'm told that my father's parents did not approve of his marriage, being married to a foreigner, and a Catholic one, no less. So they said, leave her behind, just come over, we'll take care of your son and daughter. But of course, my father didn't have anything to do with it, but we went back to Jordan, and we lived in Amman, and that's where my formative years really were. And I loved being in Amman. As a matter of fact, on April 25, I'll be flying back to Amman for 2 weeks to explore the possibilities of taking dancing classrooms to the Middle East. So being in Amman, just a little side note I'd like to share actually. I was not quite 5 years old. My father eventually got a job with the United Nations Relief and Welfare Agency, which is called UNRWA, part of the United Nations. And he was in the accountancy department, being an accountant. He was invited by a group of Bedouins, and as an honor to me on my 5th birthday, there's a dish Jordan is famous for called mansaf. Does anyone know about that? No, okay, doesn't matter. It is where they kill a sheep for you, and they killed 5 sheep for me because I was 5 years old, and you eat on the floor on a big bed of rice, and we eat together, with the hand and the rice and yogurt, and it's a wonderful, wonderful dish. But the nice thing is, my dad was so bloody British that it comes afterwards to having some coffee. So they come around with the same cup with a big thing, and they fill a little bit of coffee, which is very, very, very dark. You can put a spoon can stand up in it, and so he took a sip to be polite, but he hated it. So he would give this coffee cup back to the guy. He would fill it up again. After the 4th time, he said to his chauffeur next to him, he said, "What do? I don't want this coffee." He said, "We'll have to shake it." So once you've had your bit of coffee, you have to shake the cup, and that means thank you, move on to the next person. So he had to suffer 4 times. But ladies and gentlemen, it was a wonderful time for me growing up in Jordan. I was in a French school called Collège des Frères. Saint Jean-Baptiste de la Salle is the order. And in 1956, as Paula mentioned, the Suez Canal crisis flared up. Being British, we had to leave again. So we go to Lebanon, hoping that we would get back. No way. So we come to England. And this is where, at the age of 14, I took up ballroom dancing. Now, I speak Arabic, English with an accent, French, and in those days, it was the people, kids in school nowadays are not very, very kind to each other. And kids in my school were not so kind to me either at the time. They made fun of my accent. I had half a tooth, I was shy, I was timid, no confidence at all. But one of the people in the school, in my class, went to a local dancing studio in Birmingham. So I decided to go along. My father was ill in bed at the time, but I washed cars at the weekend and delivered newspapers, doing a paper round in the morning to earn my money to take a dancing class. I liked it, I loved it. And so I stayed with it. I was not good at it, but I stayed with it, and it gave me confidence. And so from there, I wanted to take it up as a profession. My father had died in the meantime when I was 15 and a half. And my mother, being a foreigner in England, not well liked either, but anyway, decided that being a dancer full time was not a good profession for me to choose as an only son. So so I thought maybe I'd become an accountant. I hated it. I went to, after school at 18, 19, I went to this bloody place and I just was sleeping. I just didn't like it. So I thought, well, what could I do that I could earn a profession, learn a different profession, and still dance? Because I used to dance when I was, as I said, 2 or 3 nights a week, then became to 4 nights a week. So I took up ladies' hairdressing. Hello? I was always called Pierre at school, so I go to Bernard of Mayfair in Birmingham, and did they change my name from Pierre? Of course not. So I learned to become a hairdresser, and then I came to live in London. I worked at Harrods at Knightsbridge. Have you heard of Harrods? Yeah, of course. Wonderful place, but I lasted there 7 weeks. Because, I liked it enough, but my pull wasn't dancing, and there was an Arthur Murray Dance Studios Leicester Square. So I applied for a job and became a full-time dancing teacher in 1964 at the age of 20 at the Arthur Murray Dance Studios. And so I stayed with them for a few years. Then later on, I became a champion. We won a competition, a big thing at the Royal Albert Hall with a partner, and won it again in 69 and 71. Then I became a cruise director. But in the meantime, as a dancer, I traveled on board a ship. I was determined to earn my living from being a dancer. I didn't want no offense to any of these shoe salespeople, but I did not want to be selling shoes or pulling pints, in the pub and teaching dancing part-time or earning. So I needed to be a full-time. That's my profession. So we danced on board a ship doing cabaret, and then the same company asked me if I would become a cruise director on one of their new ships. I said, I've never done it, but you have a good personality, why not? Okay, fine. So I came to America on a cruise, cruising out of New York City, and 6 months later I got off. I liked it, but rather than rush back to England with no job, I stayed in the States for 2 weeks. I went to the Arthur Murray Dance Studio on the Columbus Circle and got a job there for 3 months, and eventually stayed, and that was 38 years ago. So I've stayed. But what is interesting though is that nothing as such was planned. So I'm taking you on this journey of mine to tell you that don't be afraid of new things in life. Things matter, things happen for a reason. And you really don't know when you turn around the corner who you might meet, what might happen. But if you engulf it, if you take it in a positive way, you can make it positive. Even if something not so well, you can make it around. So you buy a bed, you buy a table, and so I stayed. But what happened is that I met my dance partner Yvonne at the Arthur Murray Studios, and then we went back to England to study, and we became world champions. And then we started the American Ballroom Theatre Company, which is a dance performing company, very much like a ballet company, where we took ballroom dancing on the legitimate stage. We danced all over the States, we danced in Europe and Asia, And we had a really good name. So in being big-headed now, not really, but you know, it might sound big-headed, but we were on the forefront of what ballroom dancing is today. We started something that nobody else did, having an actual ballroom dance company and putting ballroom dancers in a theatrical setting rather than just with a number, you know, for numbers on your back. And so Tommy Tune saw us do a show once at the Pierre Hotel for Anne Reinking. She was doing a benefit evening for the Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival up in Beckett, Massachusetts. And he saw us. He was preparing a workshop for a show called Grand Hotel, the musical. Without even an audition, we are now on Broadway. And that was incredible for a ballroom dancer. So when you think of where I started in life, and where I am right now on a Broadway stage was just unbelievable. But during that time, I volunteered my way. I was 45 years old. I volunteered my way to a school called Professional Performing Arts School on West 48th Street to teach a ballroom dancing class because I knew the principal there who invited me to come and teach. I said, so that's where I started dancing classrooms. And this has been the real journey of my life right now. Many times people ask me, do you miss performing? We dance all over the world. I loved it, earned good money at it. And I say, but I really don't anymore. I don't miss performing as a team, but because I'm always performing in front of the children. And so dancing classrooms has really changed my life, the journey of giving. Up until then, I wanted the applause, I wanted the money, and then you come to a place in your life where you want to give back to society. And I'm not trying to tell you how humble I am, it's just somebody, no matter what age you are, you will come to a place somewhere in your life where you need to do something for your living, for your being. And all I could do was dance. And I love children. I love children. I'm not married. I don't have children of my own. As I was mentioning to the young ladies and gentlemen beforehand tonight, I love them because they're so far away from me. I don't have to. It's very. All you parents are to be commended so much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Really. It is, you are to be commended. And many parents nowadays have to go to work, both parents. And this is if a child is lucky to have both parents living. And so there's such a difficult thing for the children in the New York City public schools. The difficulties I had in my life are not the same as challenges that these young men and women have at schools. So you don't know as parents what happens to a child between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So thank God for after-school programs. But what happens with dancing classrooms is the fact that these children are taught to be ladies and gentlemen. We refer to them as ladies and gentlemen. As soon as you tell a child as soon as you call a child ladies and gentlemen, they start to stand up. And something happens inside of them because suddenly you are not talking down to them. And they really appreciate that. And so if you give them what we call a safe space by repeating everything all the time in the same way, they feel, oh, I know what I've been, I can do this. So the dances we teach the children, merengue, where they can show us what their mama gave them, where they can show it. And we teach foxtrot, the elegant foxtrot. We fly then to Cuba and we do the rumba. Then we go further south to Argentina and we do the tango. We come up to the States again, specifically to Harlem, and we do the swing.